And I've arranged them in a certain way, because by now you figured out I'm a control freak, right? So, so those three people there, sorry, I don't have a mic on me now. The first three people are people who provide work environments to their organization. So Adam Lutz is providing work environments to his Google teammates at the New York City location for Google. Connie van Rhyn is providing workplaces in the PepsiCo world, and Ralph Bulle is providing workplace environments in the Cognizant technology world. Next to Ralph is Josh McLeod. He is with Regus. I think most of you know what Regus is, but I will let Josh tell you a little more about his role when we're actually responding to questions. Peter Miscovich has already been introduced from JLL, and Doug Marinaro is joining us today. He's the evil twin of Mark Gilbreth. Sorry, you're not the evil twin.
Yes,
I thought they were the same person for a while because they were never in the same room together, but then I actually did have a meeting with the two of them together. So Doug Marinaro is joining us from LiquidSpace, and he is here representing Mark. So with that, I am going to throw out the first question based on what Peter just gave us an excellent presentation about, and that's about resilience. And so I'm going to ask you each, from your own perspective, how you are helping your companies or your clients, depending on which side of the stage you're sitting on, to build resilience. And Adam, I'm going to let you go first.
I knew I was in trouble when I was sitting in the first seat. Helping resilience. I think from a standpoint of Google, and specifically in the workplace in New York, it's all about speed and flexibility. We try to provide spaces that are incredibly flexible. You can work from anywhere at any time. And we try to make things so that the workday can take place quickly. You can get from A to B quickly, and for anyone who's ever been in our building, that's not always an easy task. But you know, if you take the example of Hurricane Sandy, everybody in our organization has laptops, they have phones, they have tablets. You can work from home, you can work from the car, you can work from Long Island. So it allowed people to quickly get back up and running. Top priority for us was our corporate network, which we were able to, through redundancy systems that I'm sure all of you have as well, get that network back up, which allowed people to get back to work. And then the culture of Google specifically, it's so much like a family. I mean, we had people sending out emails saying, hey, I live on the 76th and 3rd. I've got an extra bed or a fold-out couch. If you're out of power, if you need a place to go. I mean, our entire email system was filled with people like that. Everybody was trying to help out each other, and those who had power were reaching out to those who didn't have power and providing opportunities for people to bounce back.
Good. Connie, can you tell us how you've done that at PepsiCo?
Well, we are in kind of a transformation, and lots of different things going on. And I would say we actually have done this better in some of our startup locations, our smaller locations, than translating it to our main location, because again, the organization is in a lot of transformation. But I think that the strength of our organization, and we hear it over and over again, and we've heard it today, is our people. That's why people come to our organization. So leveraging our people and leveraging what we do really well with our people in terms of what we do in marketing and things like that, bringing those home and relying on those people. We had a situation recently where we had to move a whole population, and the whole project almost just stopped because this one team was like, there is no way we are going to that space. And I just talked to someone else about this recently. It was a matter of me meeting with that team and talking through what the issues were. And quickly we transformed the whole thing and getting their engagement. This is not the company space. It's all about the people. So really, that's key. And making, again, as you've stated, how do we leverage what's going on in terms of with the technologies and things to make things easy for people to come to work.
Okay. Rob.
At the heart of our thinking about the kind of workspaces we create is building choices, building options. A recognition that we really don't know what the particular demands are, even on a day-to-day basis by our various project and consulting teams. We're giving them options, and we're giving them options, everything from stay at home, making our offices interchangeable, making spaces within our offices interchangeable. And it's a recognition that our ability to predict what's out there, including the kind of situations that may dramatically challenge the organization, are simply not knowable, and that the only recourse we have, which can become a major competitive advantage for us, is the ability to create a highly flexible work environment in which people ultimately on a daily basis and even an hourly basis will make a decision about where do I work, what tools do I work, on what platforms do I work, and that gives us a great deal of resiliency.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw some change at you guys since you're talking about resilience, and I'm gonna skip to Doug.
Sure, go ahead.
Talk about resilience and how you help your clients be more resilient.
Well, LiquidSpace is a platform to help people navigate the future of work. And if you think about resilience, we can think about it in the context of something as big as Hurricane Sandy that takes out the entire northeastern seaboard. But it also goes all the way down to resilience within an organization. And when you suddenly have an opportunity to go create a new project opportunity, and how are you going to be able to find that space and bring together your team to be able to accomplish that? And what we do is by empowering individuals to be able to navigate all the different options that are available, both inside of the real estate portfolio as well as external to that, and give those people that choice, we give them the ability to flexibly move to the spaces they need. When Hurricane Sandy occurred, we were able to go turn on and validate that 50 different work venues within the New York City area were actually available and allow those companies that were impacted in downtown Manhattan to be able to go ahead and move into those other spaces on a moment's notice. One of the most interesting stories was this venue in New Jersey, right across the river there, where they happened to be in the old Reynolds wrap factory, and they had built that for the 100-year flood. So it was 4 feet off the ground. All the parking lot was flooded, but they were able to get in there. They rode or canoed over to the building, turned on the power, made sure the coffee maker was working, and opened up their co-working center. And when the flood waters receded, we had people going in there and going to work where their other offices were not available.
Okay, Peter.
Yeah, I'll just offer 2 brief case studies. One similar to Doug's example. Investment bank downtown had their lights on during Hurricane Sandy and Superstorm Sandy. As a partner, we provided sandbags, physical labor, and actually creating a fortress around their headquarters that prevented the 14-foot sea rise to not penetrate their building whatsoever. Not one speck of sand came to the lobby of that building. Another client was 6,000 folks downtown, had every building inundated with water, 25 feet in the lobby of all their 6 buildings, but fortunately they had a resilient workplace mobility program and a distributed network of sites, including work at home, including sites like LiquidSpace would offer or Regus would offer where folks could go. And they were operational within 3 days. So I think it's interesting, sort of the tale of multiple companies a la Superstorm Sandy at what worked, what didn't work, and why. And again, I'd encourage everyone here to explore that because I think there's just some tremendous valuable lessons to be learned for the future.
Okay, Josh.
Yeah, so in Peter's presentation for this one, he talked about how a company is resilient, and specifically he talked about a distributed network of offices. So one of the simplest ways that we integrate with our clients is we basically take our portfolio of 1,500 plus locations that are basically workspaces, and we integrate them with our clients in an easy way for them to tap into them. So if something should happen in one of their spaces, and I'll just use New York as an example, we've got over 60 business centers spread throughout Manhattan, the boroughs, and then going over to New Jersey. So when you talk about distributed work models and resiliency that applies to that, we offer an expansive network that's grown at 20% every year to tap into. And we focus on aligning those relationships and really making it easy for the client to know what is out there that they can tap into. And the second thing is we've got a product specifically that is oriented towards workplace recovery. And I'll use Hurricane Sandy as an example on how that's applied. Essentially, a client can purchase this product or the service and have space reserved in a Regus center, because we've got that infrastructure spread throughout the world, where they can tap into it if they need it. And when something happens like Superstorm Sandy, they're on the front of the list on how they recover their personnel that need space to work across our network. And that's what we did. When Superstorm Sandy hit, there was a couple things that we were able to execute really well on. The first was we had some of our sitters shut down. Out of that entire network, we're in buildings just like clientele of Peter and just like companies that are in the audience here. And we had centers shut down. And what we did was we first recovered our current clients and said, hey, here are your options. You can use them if you want them. We'll give you space in these different places. You're paying for them. We're going to move you into these spaces. And we literally used the entire Northeastern network for that, by the way. Because there were some folks that, you know what? The trains weren't coming into the city. They didn't need to come into the city to work. They needed a place to work. So they took advantage of our other locations. And then also the folks that actually declared that had our workplace recovery product, we placed them into centers as well. But we had a 100% success rate on recovering our clientele. And it was amazing to me to see how we execute that. And at one point when I was with Regus, I actually managed our business in Central Florida, and we had hurricanes hit. So I actually directly managed our workplace recovery program and client recovery program there. But Hurricane Sandy, I got to watch it from afar, which was a little bit less stressful. But it's pretty amazing to see how it works.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to open it up to audience questions. And I'm just going to say to the panel, I started off intentionally with each one of you having time to say a bit for that one question. But for all the other questions, don't feel like you have to answer it if there's something that you don't need to weigh in on. So here's my question, and be thinking about yours. We're going to, in just a couple of minutes, you'll get to ask the question. So Jennifer McNulty made a really interesting point that when she presented 2 years ago about co-working spaces, it was a relatively new idea to talk to this audience about. But it had been going on with startups and freelancers serving a different part of the workforce that many of us in this room don't serve. So I want to ask you to think about what you've seen in freelancers, in startup companies, in people you recruit into your own companies. Think about what they are doing now that in 2 or 3 years, like co-working, could now become part of the corporate real estate world. So make a prediction. What do you think is going on now at the fringe that's going to become part of the mainstream when you're back here 3 years from now? And you can go in any order you want.
I'll take that, Cindy. I think, and I know Jennifer pretty well, and I think the convergence issue that she brings up, where co-working 3 years ago was sort of this embryonic, fun thing. I mean, I know General Assembly, I know the San Francisco co-working sites, but now I think it's evolutionizing into the mainstream. And Regus is offering co-working, and LiquidSpace. So I think with the contingent workforce increase over time, and the maturing of co-working over time, we're going to see yet again another convergence. And we found, Cisco's here, Relina Bulshandani's here, the smart work centers in the Netherlands. There's 400 or 450 smart work centers now in the Netherlands. People don't want to work from home every day. They don't necessarily want to go in the office every day. So where can they go? And I think smart work, co-working, alternative work sites, and we'll have multiple choices and take a journey every day in terms of where we want to go to work. And I don't see that trend diminishing.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be workplace related, by the way. It can be anything
Yeah, I'll
gleaned from that part of the workforce.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give a little bit of a post